It's just a constant barrage, isn't it? All these new platforms, they just keep popping up.
Yeah, always
And
able.
each one promises, it's the next big thing in how businesses talk to people.
Hmm.
So for you, listening, trying to figure it all out, trying to make smart moves for your company, it can just feel like way too much information.
Totally overwhelming.
So let's try and cut through some of that noise today. We're going to take a really focused look at three key players in this messaging space, and we're basing this on a pretty insightful paper. We're
Huh.
talking RCS, WhatsApp Business, and good old SMS.
Exactly. And our goal, really, in this deep dive is just to pull out the essential stuff, the practical insights, so you
Yeah.
can really get a handle on the current messaging landscape and, make decisions that make sense.
Right.
Because each of these platforms, they bring something different, different strengths, different weaknesses. Understanding those is what gives you the edge.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're diving into RCS, which that might be a new one for some people listening.
Could be, yeah.
Then WhatsApp Business, which lots of folks know, and the one that's always there, SMS. So let's start with RCS. What exactly is this thing?
Okay, so RCS, it stands for Rich Communication Services. Think of it as basically the next step up from SMS. It tries to bring all those modern features, like pictures and videos, right into your phone's standard messaging app.
Ah, okay. Like the default texting app.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is you get like high-quality images, videos, even interactive things like carousels you can swipe through or buttons you can actually tap
Wait, in the message.
right in the message thread. At least that's the plan on Android. So for businesses, this means you could potentially run much richer campaigns, better promotions, give more useful updates about transactions, that kind of thing.
Okay, now that's interesting. So what makes RCS a potentially good option? What are the main upsides the paper points out?
Well, the paper highlights a few key things. First, it's supposed to be native in the Android messaging app. So in theory, your customers don't need another app.
Okay, no extra download needed.
Right. Second, the richer media and interactivity, that's a big jump from just plain text. Imagine getting a message where you can, I don't know, browse through a few product options right there or click a button to confirm something instantly.
Yeah, I can see that.
And third, it offers better security compared to standard SMS.
That sounds like a pretty significant upgrade, but there's always a but, isn't there? What are the catches, the limitations businesses need to know about with RCS right now?
Oh, absolutely. And the cons are, well, they're pretty relevant still.
Mm.
The biggest issue right now is just limited global adoption.
Uh,
It's not everywhere yet. Support across different carriers, different Android phones, it's inconsistent. And that's a real hurdle if you're trying to reach everyone.
okay.
Then there's the cost. It can be quite a bit more expensive, especially if you're going through aggregators.
Aggregators. What are those exactly?
They're basically companies that help businesses connect to all the different mobile networks and manage these RCS messages.
Yeah.
They bridge the gap. And setting up RCS, it can be complex too. You often need approved message flows. You have to integrate with these aggregators, get your brand verified.
Right.
It's not just flicking a switch.
Right, more involved.
Plus, the whole thing is pretty tied to Google's efforts and direction.
And what if, say, my phone or my carrier just doesn't support RCS? What happens to the message then?
Yeah, good question. That's where the fallback to SMS kicks in. So the message should still arrive, but as a standard text message.
Okay, so it still gets there.
It should. But the paper does mention that this fallback, this switch,
Yeah.
isn't always like super smooth for the user. It can feel a bit disjointed sometimes.
Good to know. And getting permission, is that different? Like opt-ins?
Nope, same deal.
Yeah.
Clear opt-in consent is absolutely crucial for RCS. Just like any business messaging, you definitely need that permission.
Right.
On the plus side, for analytics, the paper says you can get pretty good data through the dashboards these aggregators provide, so you can track things.
Okay. So we've heard about the potential, the investment, but the paper also mentions this idea of RCS hype versus reality. What's the story there?
Yeah, it's interesting because despite all the buzz, all the resources going into it, RCS just hasn't really hit mass adoption yet, not outside a few specific places like Mexico and Japan, apparently.
Huh.
Why is that?
Well, the paper suggests a big reason is just how fragmented the Android world is. Getting all of those different carriers around the globe to agree on standards and implement it consistently, it's complicated. So yeah, the tech is promising, but actually using it everywhere at scale Still kind of work in progress.
Okay, makes sense. Let's switch gears then to a platform that probably everyone listening uses, WhatsApp Business. What does the paper say about its role?
Right. WhatsApp Business. So this is the version specifically for businesses to chat with customers on WhatsApp.
Hmm.
Key things it offers, rich media, obviously pictures, documents. You can even set up product catalogs.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Exactly. Plus interactive buttons, quick replies to make things faster.
Right.
It's really good for things like customer support, showing off products, sending updates like shipping notifications.
So what makes WhatsApp Business such a strong option? What are its big advantages, according to the paper?
Well, the number one thing is just the sheer size of the user base. It's massive, over 2 billion active users globally.
Wow. Okay. That's reach.
Huge reach. Another really key strength is the end-to-end encryption. That gives users a sense of security, which is important.
Definitely.
And then there are all the features we mentioned, the rich media, the interactive bits, and maybe most importantly, it's a platform people already know. They use it every day with friends and family, so there's that familiarity.
Okay, now for the other side. What are the potential downsides or challenges with using WhatsApp Business?
Well, unlike SMS, which is just on every phone, users obviously need to have the WhatsApp app installed. That could be a barrier for some people. The pricing can also be a bit tricky. It varies depending on where you are and what kind of message you're sending. Like, is it a notification or part of a conversation?
Ah, okay. Not one flat rate.
Not usually, no. And while you can send messages out to groups of contacts, it's more restricted than just blasting out SMS. You need specific opt-ins for certain types of messages, like templates.
What about getting started? Setting up WhatsApp Business, is that easy?
The paper calls the setup moderate complexity. So, not super simple, but not rocket science either. Businesses usually need to get verified, set up an official profile.
Okay. And analytics, can you track how well messages are doing?
Yeah, the WhatsApp Business APIs, those are the tools that let businesses integrate WhatsApp into their own systems.
Yeah.
They do offer good insights. You can track delivery, reads, engagement, that kind of stuff.
The paper actually uses the phrase WhatsApp Business Dominance. That sounds pretty strong. Why does it get that label?
Well, if you look at the big picture,
Yeah.
you've got that massive user base we talked about, combined with business features that are getting better and better. It really is positioned as probably the most effective channel for rich messaging globally right now.
Right. Because that's where the people are.
Exactly. A huge chunk of consumer attention is on WhatsApp. So if you want those richer, more interactive conversations, it's a prime spot. But remember that opt-in for templates is mandatory. Users have to agree to get those specific kinds of messages.
Right. Can't just spam people. Okay, let's round out the big three with the veteran SMS. What's its place in all this today?
Yeah, good old SMS, short message service. It's been around forever, hasn't it?
Cheers, like it.
And its traditional role for businesses has been things like, one-time passwords for logins,
You get those all the time.
urgent alerts, basic notifications, appointment reminders, delivery updates, things like that.
So even with RCS and WhatsApp doing all this fancy stuff, what keeps SMS in the game? What are its advantages still?
Its main strength, honestly, is just its incredible reach. Pretty much any mobile phone, smart or not, can get an SMS. Doesn't matter if you have internet or what apps you have installed.
Universal, basically.
Pretty much. It's also super simple, generally very reliable for getting critical alerts out, and delivery is usually instant. That's key for time-sensitive stuff.
Okay, but we all know it's basic.
Sure.
What are the major drawbacks for businesses using SMS now?
Yeah, the limitations are pretty obvious compared to the others.
Yeah.
The biggest one, no rich media. It's just text, maybe a link if you're lucky.
Right. No pictures, no buttons.
Exactly. Interactivity is minimal. Users can only really reply with text. And a big one these days, security. Standard SMS isn't encrypted. That's a growing concern.
How hard is it for a business to start sending SMS messages?
Oh, that's super easy. The paper says setup complexity is very low. You basically just need a simple SMS gateway provider, and you're pretty much good to go.
And tracking. Analytics.
Very basic. You might get delivery reports if the carrier provides them, confirming the message reached the handset. But nothing like the detailed stats you get with WhatsApp or potentially RCS.
So despite being basic and having these limitations, the paper talks about SMS's enduring role. Why is it still so essential?
It really comes down to that fundamental need for guaranteed reach. Even with all these advancements, sometimes you just need to be absolutely sure a message gets delivered, regardless of internet connection or phone type.
Like for emergencies or critical alerts?
Exactly. Or in markets where maybe not everyone has a smartphone or reliable internet, SMS is still the common denominator.
Okay, so we've looked at each one, RCS, WhatsApp, SMS. Now, how should businesses actually use this knowledge? What kind of strategy or blended approach does the paper suggest?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't suggest picking just one. The paper really pushes for a strategic blended approach. It's about matching the right channel to the right job and the right audience.
Okay, so how does that break down?
So for RCS, the advice is use it selectively. Focus on markets where it's actually gaining steam, where people are using it.
Right, where adoption is strong.
Exactly. For WhatsApp Business, prioritize that for your richer, more interactive stuff, especially where your customers are already active on WhatsApp. That's where you build engagement.
Makes sense.
And then SMS. Keep it in the mix for those critical must-reach notifications and also as that reliable fallback if RCS doesn't go through.
Can you maybe walk us through an example? Like, how would a company actually do that blend?
Sure. Let's take a retailer launching a new product.
Yeah.
They might start by sending a WhatsApp message, nice visuals, maybe a video, buttons to browse or buy right there in the chat.
Okay, the rich experience first.
Right. But then maybe if someone doesn't open or interact with that WhatsApp message after, say, a day or two, the system could automatically send a simple SMS reminder, just a quick text with a link to the product page.
Ah, using SMS as a follow-up or backup.
Exactly. Or think about an appointment confirmation.
Yeah.
You could send the initial confirmation via WhatsApp, maybe with an add to calendar button. But you could also schedule an SMS reminder for the day before just to be absolutely sure they get it, even if their phone's offline at that moment.
Gotcha. So using them together for different parts of the communication.
Precisely. Playing to each platform's strengths.
Okay, so as we wrap up this exploration, what are the absolute key takeaways people should remember from this deep dive?
I think the core message is really this. RCS has potential, definitely, for richer messaging down the line.
Yeah.
But right now, because its adoption is still limited, WhatsApp Business is generally the more practical, effective choice for delivering those rich, interactive experiences globally.
Okay. WhatsApp for rich now, RCS maybe later.
Kinda, yeah. And critically, don't forget SMS. Despite its age, it's still absolutely vital for that wide reach and delivering the really crucial stuff reliably.
Right. So it's definitely not about picking one winner. It's much more about understanding what each one does best. And then mixing and matching them smartly based on who you're talking to, what you need to say, and what you're trying to achieve as a business.
Precisely. You really need to look at your specific audience, the market you're in, and your actual communication goals to figure out the best blend of these tools.
So thinking about these different platforms, RCS with its future potential, WhatsApp Business dominating the rich interactive space right now, and trusty SMS still holding down the fort for reach, maybe the question for you listening is, what innovative ways could your organization connect with its audience using a mix of these?
Yeah, moving beyond just choosing one, how can they work together?
Exactly. Hopefully this deep dive gave you some clarity, some valuable nuggets from the source material to help you start thinking about those possibilities.